Luigi Mangione back in court Monday after he was sick Friday. Now he's the man accused of killing United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. Called to the stand today, Officer Chrissy Wasser, the Altoona police officer who searched his backpack at a McDonald's. Scripps News national correspondent Alex Miller joins us live from New York City with the very latest. So Alex, get us up to date. His team says that this search was done without a warrant. What'd you see today in the courtroom?
Well, Maritza, we watched body camera footage today from multiple angles of Officer Chrissy Wasser. We saw her own body camera, which at points was turned off and then turned back on. But we also saw other officers' body cameras, which showed Wasser going through Mangione's backpack. They did not have a warrant at the time, which is why Mangione's team is arguing nothing inside of that backpack should be allowed to be used as evidence in trial. But the Altoona Police Department says that this is lawful, that they did have the ability to search it. You could hear multiple different officers discussing this over the course of today's video on camera, where they were asking whether they needed to get a warrant, and higher level officers said they did not need to. But the confusing part here is the reason why they searched this. Remember, at that point, Luigi Mangione had only been arrested for forgery and for false identification. This was not technically related to the CEO shooting, but Chrissy Wasser said that she felt the need to search his backpack to look for a bomb. There was one point on the camera where she said she didn't want to pull a Moser, which is when apparently another officer in the department at one point brought a bomb back to their police department. So according to her, she was searching this out of fear. At one point, Mangione is asked what's inside the backpack. He says he's going to choose to remain silent. Wasser testifying today that that was a heightened fear. But when she was questioned by Mangione's attorneys and asked why you didn't clear the McDonald's if there was such a fear, she said she felt that the officers there had it under control. Now, when she searches his backpack on the premises of the McDonald's, she unwraps a pair of gray underwear, and inside of it finds a loaded magazine. And you can hear the officers around kind of getting a little bit excited, saying that this is definitely him. And then the contents are put back into the bag or into a brown McDonald's bag, where they're brought back to the police station when Mangione was transported there for them to go through. Then we see on this body camera that when they are starting to go through this backpack, she opens a side zipper compartment that she had not opened, and out comes a gun. That is where for the first time they see a weapon. At that point, they go into a different room away from Mangione, and that's where, under a bunch of other things like credit cards, a passport, a Faraday bag, which is meant to kind of deflect signal, they are able to find a silencer and a little red notebook where prosecutors say a manifesto is written. Now, again, all of this could be used as evidence in court if the judge does allow it. And one big point of contention today was that use of the word manifesto from the prosecution. Mangione's team objecting to it on multiple occasions. The judge allowed it, but did say that that is a word that is not going to be allowed at trial. Mangione definitely in better spirits today than when I saw him on Thursday. He looked like he was feeling better, taking notes, was much more engaged, speaking with his lawyer at points. And so today was definitely a much more full day of trial, obviously, than Friday, which was canceled because Mangione was sick.
And Alex, we got some new evidence in over the weekend. So what did we learn from that?
So there has been a back and forth about what evidence should be allowed to be viewed by the public. There's a lot of concern on the part of Mangione's team that this jury, a potential jury, will be prejudiced by these proceedings. That the hearings right now are about what's going to be allowed and what's not. So it will be interesting to see if some of this evidence is not allowed, but the public already knows about it, whether or not that could end up being harmful to his case. And so this is all evidence that we saw in the courtroom over the course of the week, but now it has been published. I'm talking about a USB drive that was around his neck that had to be removed when he got to the police station. We also saw a host of clothing that was posted, but also a knife, zip ties, credit cards, things of that nature, as well as a bus ticket and a train ticket. There's been a lot of discussion about Mangione planning out the route of what he was going to do after this shooting allegedly happens in New York City. We saw last week a bus ticket from Philadelphia to Pittsburgh. Today we saw evidence of another of him planning out a route allegedly even further. Now this letter, this checklist, you can see where he tells himself to go to Best Buy to buy USBs, a digital camera, water bottles, trash bags, a hot meal. And he specifically tells himself, that bottom right corner, you can see that he tells himself on the day that he is arrested that he was planning to have an intel check-in and to get himself a survival kit. All of these things found on his person, Maritza, something that, again, the defense does not want to see allowed in this trial, which, by the way, we still do not have a date for.
All right, Scripps News national correspondent Alex Miller live in New York for us. Thank you so much for your reporting, my friend.